Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the market trader. My name's Ray, the market trader. And before we begin here, we'll need to get through our um, obligatory risk disclosure. But before I do, I just need to make one final adjustment here. So we're going to go ahead and all right. We're going to go ahead now and take a look at our risk disclosure here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So right here. All right. So just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the market trader is to be used as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice or an offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, good morning, Dirk. Good morning, Dave S. Just before we get too far into this, just want to remind everyone that we do have a number of areas where you can support me in my efforts here. We have the subscribe, we have the likes, we have the super chat, and things of that nature. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the charts here. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually, before we look at the charts, we're going to take a look at the financial news here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and share the financial news. All right, we're going to take a look and see what do we have in the way of news, okay, that could impact the markets. Well, we have a Fed Community Banking Conference, okay, that's, I guess, being initiated here or has been initiated here in the last 10 minutes or so. It's an all-day event, okay, so some information that may come out of that meeting could have the potential of impacting the markets. And then we have a number of Fed members speaking. We have Fed member Powell, we have Fed member Bowen, we have Fed member Kashkari and Barr and Bowman again, and Daly speaking throughout the day here. Couple of speaking engagements for our president that always has the ability. We have a cabinet meeting with Trump. We have a meeting with Secretary Bessent that, or actually an engagement with Treasury Secretary Bessent that will happen later this afternoon or morning. Okay. And then I guess the biggest event here would probably be around 1 p.m. Eastern time is the U.S. note bond yield, U.S. Bond, 30-year bond reporting, as well as the 30-year bond bid to cover. Okay. So that's probably the biggest event here. And then we have, leading up to some maybe inflationary numbers here tomorrow to kind of close out the week here. All right. So now that we've gotten through, screen is black. All right, let's see if we can correct that. I don't know why that happens, but it seems like I have to do this twice before it actually takes effect here. So we'll pause here for a second, give you a chance maybe if you'd like to take a little bit of a screenshot of what I have here. Thank you, Faye. Good morning. Okay, so yeah, so that's again we have. I think I failed to mention that we have Pepsi earnings. We have the Fed Community Banking Conference. We have a number of speaking engagements, but from the Treasury Secretary to our president to our Fed members, and then we have later this afternoon and morning. We have the U.S. 30-year note, 30-year bond reporting some results of that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead now that we've gotten through a little bit of the risk disclosures and the financial portals here. We'll take a look here at the markets and see what the markets have in store for us here. Okay. So let's take a look here. All right. We'll start off with the daily chart of the gold market. All right. So we'll take a look at that here. All right. And just make sure that that's visible to everyone. I think that's the most important part. Hey, Alejandro. Okay. Let's so again, so I have the daily chart of the gold here. Okay. Morning MS. So I have the daily chart of the gold. So I'm going to have to remove some of my drawings here. Okay, as you can see here, right? As you can see here, we remain in some structure here to the upside. Okay, we continue to remain above our 9 EMA. We have a little bit maybe of an inside day that's developing here, but we closed out yesterday. Looks like yesterday. I'm just make sure. Yep. Yesterday we closed out quite strong. Okay. Looking at the volume delta bars, the volume delta bars are still coming in on the aggressively on the buy side. Okay. So we're getting more buyers than sellers in this market. All right. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Let's see what the 4-hour chart has to say and offer us here. So we'll click on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are continuing to kind of staircase our way higher. I would say that of late, maybe over the last a day or so, we've been a little bit, I would say more overlapping or more rangy in price. I'm going to turn off my initial balance range here if I can, just to eliminate some of these lines that I'm seeing. Let's turn off this over here for now. Okay. All right. So you can see that maybe we are developing a little bit of range after being in a pretty strong upward move Monday and Tuesday, right? That got us to the 4,000 level. Now that we've reached the 4,080, the 4,060 level, it seems like we've begun to kind of maybe range here a little bit. Okay. Kind of what I like to term as kind of digest the kind of the impulsive move that we made here to the upside. Okay. So you can see here that we have some sort of kind of flag pattern that's developing here in this market. So it appears, at least on the 4-hour, that maybe we are in the beginning stages of some sort of kind of range kind of price action. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute, see what the 30-minute has to say. And you can see again that we are giving more evidence of some kind of range kind of price action. We had a pretty solid, I would say, a pretty solid move here to the downside on Wednesday. Okay. Only to maybe locate some buyers here down around the 4,020 level. Okay. And that has caused the market, at least for now, to rally. Now we do have settlement above us, again, similar to point of control. Often settlement acts as some sort of magnet to price here. Okay. So certainly expect that we will reach at some point probably this 44,070 level at some point in this session. Okay. And then at that point, we could either, kind of follow the path of where we've been in the past and maintain ourselves in this kind of range, kind of consolidating pattern, or it could offer us maybe another leg to the upside. I'm kind of erring on the side that we most likely are probably going to stay in some sort of range, given the large moves that we made in gold over the last few days. Okay. Especially starting Tuesday, right? We made a move that caused us to cross 4,000 and reach this 4,070 level before we saw some sellers maybe potentially step in here to the market. All right. So let's remove some of our drawings. Let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's see what kind of context that provides us in preparing us to navigate the markets today. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of look back here at the start of the session yesterday. Okay, right about there. And you can see here that we are inside value, right? So indicating that we are in some area, area of balance, right? You can see that we are seeing a little bit in the way of overlapping candles, right? but nonetheless, we are making higher highs and higher lows, right? So the question becomes for me is exactly what's going to happen when we reach the 4,070 level, because I feel that it's a visible target for this market, right? So we could easily come up to this level, 4,070, maybe as high as 4,080, and that's, I think, where the decision needs to begin, right? Is that going to offer us maybe another leg to the downside? Okay, as evident by this leg here. Okay, or is this going to be an opportunity for maybe an impulsive move to the upside? I'm of the opinion that maybe this whole area here, has the potential of maybe offering us maybe a little bit of reversal in price. Okay, this 4,080, 4,075. Up until that point, I think it's probably reasonable to think that maybe at least we'll get up to 4,070. 4,070 is probably going to be our first kind of indication here on what exactly the market is going to try to do once we reach that level. All right. So we're going to take a look here at the initial balance across the various sessions. I find that that's very helpful for me to kind of gauge generally what the market was able to accomplish over the course of the overnight. So let's take a look at the Tokyo session here, Asia session. You can see that we did manage to break higher. Okay. Not quite. Right, EM, but we did manage to get to the almost the 100% extension. All right. So again, we got a nice extension to the upside. We reached the 50% extension, came back and retested not the initial balance high. We dug a little bit deeper and got to VWAP, and we found some buyers. Since that moment, again, this is kind of where I kind of like to put in my anchored VWAP here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my anchored VWAP down on this location here. And you can see here that the market has reacted away on a VWAP that's sloping here to the upside. Okay, so you can see here that price is hovering above our 9 EMA, again giving us an indication that maybe there's some further upside opportunities in this market. Again, we've already kind of highlighted some areas above us that could serve as maybe some resistance zones. All right, so let's take a look at the London and see what London has to offer here. So London also offered us an extension here to the upside. We did manage to get to the looks like the 100%, close to we're not far from the 200% extension, and that 200% extension happens to fall right around our settlement price. Okay, so right around our settlement price. So that's going to serve as a little bit of a magnet, a little bit of confluence that maybe that this area could offer us some sort of reaction. We don't know exactly how strong of a reaction we'll get here, but the expectation is that we get some reaction off of this level that either provides us maybe an opportunity to participate in this upside move, or maybe we dig our heels here a little bit, or sellers dig their heels here a little bit and maybe offer us an opportunity to the downside. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else that I want to kind of call out on this market here. So we're above everything at the moment. We're going to take one last look here at the developing initial balance. Looks like it's quite narrow, a little bit of indecision going on on this market. So we'll just go ahead and open up the regular session here. And you can see, yeah, we are developing an inside candle here that's inside the range, and a very narrow range at that. Okay. So now the question becomes is where do participants plan on taking this market? Well, if this range remains, which would be not likely, okay, then this would be easy for participants to create some initiative price action in one direction or the other. Okay, so we'll have to see. Again, from my view, I'm going to wait and see which direction they intend to take the market. I'm going to then at that point decide, well, do I have enough runway to support maybe a long, okay, maybe up to these highs, or am I better served in waiting, maybe being patient and waiting for these levels above me, with the understanding that maybe we will remain in some sort of range today, and then offer me a location where I could take maybe a reversal trade. I find it may be a little bit difficult on the first attempt to break above 4,080. I expect that level to hold, at least the first attempt of it. So that level might be an area that we can maybe target or set an alert for and see if we get any sort of, kind of price pattern that would indicate that maybe it wants to head lower. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I have for the crude oil market. I'm gonna start my little marketing a little bit earlier, and encourage folks to hit the likes, hit the subscribes if you're not already a subscriber, and don't be shy in leaving me a comment or two on the portal indicating how well this or how this analysis is indeed supporting your ability to analyze the markets and navigate the markets for opportunities. Okay. All right. So now that I've gotten through the marketing and seen actually one additional person, but no additional likes, we'll go ahead and we'll move on. Oh, there you go. There it goes. There's my token like. We'll move on to the crude oil market and see what the crude oil market has to say here. Okay. So let's see if let's see here. We'll go ahead and start off with a daily chart. Okay. So again, crude oil has been kind of ranging of late, right? We got a little push to the downside, and maybe there was a little bit of an expectation here that maybe we would continue in that direction. Looks like that 61 level was a level that maybe woke up some people and found some support, and we've been in sort of somewhat of an upward trend ever since. Okay. We haven't really broken any sort of structure here to the upside. I'm going to go ahead and clear some of my drawings. It does appear that we're trying to get above the 9 EMA here, right? Yes. Better hit the like button, or or Marie will definitely take you out. Yes. Okay. So here we are. We have a price candle. We again looking at this from left to right. Again, guys, we have a market that continues to slope lower. Right? Maybe you can make a case that maybe the momentum to the downside is slowing a bit, but nonetheless. Nonetheless, it is still sloping to the downside. Okay, still sloping to the downside. So still very much a bearish market, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. Dave S, they don't appear to be afraid. Dave S, they don't appear to be afraid. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, we got some more participants, which is great. We'll turn off our initial balance range here and take a look and see what the 4-hour chart is telling us. And again, you can see that we are, however, with some effort here, we are indeed grinding. Okay, grinding, I think, is the best word I can give this market. But we are kind of grinding to the upside, right? However, that with a lot of effort in making that happen here, right? Grinding to the upside. Okay. Right. So in any case, 4-hour chart is giving me some indication that maybe there is some upside direction in this market. Again, we are making some we are making some higher highs and higher lows here. Okay. But nonetheless, right, we still are in a larger, swing to the downside. Okay. So can't really, necessarily embrace the longs, right? 100%, right? Because we are seeing that we are still within some ranges. Now, the fact is that we are beginning to create some structure that would indicate that maybe there is some more upside opportunity in this market here. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart and see how I can impress upon people on maybe hitting the likes here. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Marie, for your efforts there. Dave S. again. So let's take a look at the 30-minute chart and let's see what the 30-minute chart has to say here. All right, so let's take a look at this. So we're going to go ahead and start with a fixed range volume profile here. All right, fixed range volume profile. Let's get a sense of where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we'll go ahead and locate the start of the trade for yesterday, drag that to the close of trade for yesterday, and see where the market is in relation to that. Okay, so much like the gold, we are inside some sort of value area. Okay, would not be surprising in the least that we maybe revisit the highs of the session here, right around 62.80. All right, that would be a logical, given kind of the fact that we've closed back inside the value range, that maybe we get some sort of rotation through the range back to the highs here around 62.80. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that as maybe a potential area there. All right, 62.80, and that's, I think, probably going to be an area where a decision needs to be made. Right, either we remain in range and we maybe get some sort of reversal at that 62.80 level, or the other thing, or we break that range, right, and it serves as an area of some sort of support. 62.80 is kind of a springboard for maybe a continuation move to the upside. Okay, I'm not going to count my chickens before they're hatched, so I'm going to wait to see what kind of pattern, right, I get at this extension level. This probably is going to be an area where I'm going to have initial balance to kind of to support my decision process there a little bit. But nonetheless, we are beginning to see some kind of price action to indicate that there is some sort of demand kind of brewing in the crude oil, right? We see that the 62 level is offering us some level of support. Notice that price, when it retraced, was not able to get back too far into. Yes, I have, MS. I have been able to get a couple of trades in the crude oil of late. So the market is improving of late, but certainly gold remains the standard here for me, still. Okay, but yes, the market is beginning to give us some ranges that allow us to support some trades. All right, so let's take a look at the initial balance here, guys, and see what the initial balance ranges have to offer here. So we're going to start off with the Tokyo or Asia session, or as some participants like to call Asia 2. All right, and you can see here we got a very nice extension here, right? You can see we got this is the initial balance range for Tokyo, right, guys? This is like picture perfect, right? Picture perfect, right? We got a nice extension to the upside. We had to wait a while for this to happen, right? But once we got this little extension, right, to the upside, we rallied to the 200% extension and beyond, and kind of reached the highs of the day for the session. Okay, pretty solid move here from 62.10 all the way up to 62.80. Okay, so Asia offered us a nice move to the upside. London, it appears, was not really embracing, was not really aligned with Asia's view on where to take this market, and it appears that they were able to repel some of the bullish price action, right, and create the opposite effect, right? So as one of my mentors used to call this, the Tom and Jerry chase, right? Asia rallies, and London takes back, right? Breaks it down, right? So so the question now becomes, is the US session going to follow what London has kind of started, right? If so, then I wouldn't expect price to get back inside London's range, right? Right? Yeah, after it got to about 62.20, it ripped to the upside. Correct. Now and then rejected up at the 62.80 level. Now the question becomes, is this level right here at 62.60, 62.56, is this going to offer us a location where we maybe get some sort of reversal in price? Not out of the question, right? Because right now we haven't really closed back inside value. Now I am going to wait for some sort of pattern to indicate to me. I'm just not going to rely on this wick to tell me, okay, well, they're indeed going to hold this level, right? This is where we're at settlement, right? We're at the settlement price from yesterday, and sometimes settlement offers us locations where we get reversals. So yeah, I don't expect us to just blast through. Let's see, can't just blast through all that without some strong buying. Yeah, I don't expect us to necessarily blast through this area here. But again, it's kind of a how we say, it's kind of a function of range, right? So we'll have to see what kind of market we end up getting here. But I think one thing that we can agree on, that we are still very much in some sort of range kind of price action. We are seeing some evidence of buying. I cannot deny that, right? Are we coming into an area where we potentially could see some resistance? In my view, yes. I think the 6280 level is not going to be a level that's necessarily going to just open the door for bulls to just kind of step through and kind of continue to rally this market. Okay. Maybe there is one last, maybe slight pullback before we see maybe a bullish move to the upside. Okay. Yeah, I think we need to continue to see new highs. And I would even say that in order for me to really embrace the bulls, I really need to see price break above 6280, right? I really need to see price to break above 6280 and hold 6280. That would be my ideal location, because in this area right here, I feel like I'm in some sort of consolidation and really don't know, outside of the last few candles, where they want to take this market. Okay, so I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be the market did open, so let's take a look here and see what the kind of initial balance range. It doesn't seem like it's offered too much yet, but we'll take a look here. All right, so that, where is it? Where did it go? Yep, it should have opened. Let's see. Did I not change it? No, it's changed. Where's my little yellow? Yellow. Oh, it's because, oh, bummer. Okay. So that's, now I understand. Okay. So in any case, guys, it does appear that we are in some sort of bullish price action. I'm going to wait for initial balance to set up here. Okay. I'm going to wait for initial balance to set up here and then decide from there which direction they want to take the market. But I would have to kind of side on M, I guess, for now, is that it does appear that they want to take this market a bit higher. I'm going to change this initial balance range back to where I had it before. Because it looks like I'm having a little bit of issues here. Yeah, so we are kind of creeping into the range for London. If we do happen to close, not out of the question that we see a rotation back to the highs. And then I think that's where the real decision happens, right? I think that's where the real decision happens. I think 6280 is going to be that area where we either going to make or break the bulls here, right? So that's kind of the level. And I mean, if you want to take an opportunity up to that level, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think there's probably a fair amount of risk that you're taking that to the downside. So since we are kind of into the middle of the range, so my focus is going to be on the edges, right? So if I'm thinking short, let it be around 6280. If I'm thinking long, let price break the 6280 level, and then maybe I can participate around the 62 level for a continuation. That's kind of my view right now. Don't really want to take on too much of a long here, even though I'm getting some evidence here, because I feel like it's too far into the middle of the range. And I feel like at any point here, we could see sellers step back into this market. All right. So before we kind of move on to, thank you for all the feedback there, M. That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and make again another appeal here, guys, to encourage you guys to hit the likes and subscribes. We also have, super chat. If you want to make a little donation to the cause, that's also helpful as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on here to the equity markets and take a look and see what the equity markets have to offer here. I know that a lot of people are interested on the equity side, so we'll take a look at the daily and see what the daily has to say, and then we'll kind of move navigate through the markets. Okay, so again, we on the daily chart, we see a market that continues to grind higher and higher. Okay, where it stops, nobody exactly knows. But right now, we seem to continue to want to press higher. Okay, not seeing much anything that would indicate, other than when maybe some indecision candle that's currently developing here on the daily chart, right? But the market seems to be again very simple. Is the market sloping up, or is the market sloping down? Well, the market's sloping up, right? Market is sloping up. So since the market is sloping up, thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate you. I will grab a coffee on your behalf. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So here we go. Again, very simple, guys. Very simple. We're looking at this. We will look at it from left to right. What direction is the market moving? Should I be looking for actively for shorting opportunities of this market? If I am, and they need to be of the scalping variety, right? Why? Why? Well, look at what the market is doing. You know, what is the direction of the market? Is the market moving down and I should be actively looking for shorts? No, the market continues to show signs of strength, right? We just closed a very bullish candle here, right? Very bullish candle here as recently as yesterday, right? And we haven't really been able to make any sort of inroads on this current candle inside this range. Does that speak strength? Or does that speak weakness? Well, for me, it speaks strength, right? Buyers are not allowing price, right? Buyers are not allowing price to get anywhere inside this bullish candle, right? As much as I'd like to be the guy to be the first guy to take this market down, I have to respect the fact that we continue to drive price higher. Okay. All right. Let's now that I have this opportunity for coffee, that's giving me a little bit of renewed energy here, guys. I don't know what it is. Maybe a little bit of a placebo effect, but nonetheless, it is giving me a little bolt of preaching here. I don't know why. All right. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart here. Again, you can see that we are very much in an upward trend here. Okay. And you can see that price continues to drive higher. Okay. We make higher highs and higher lows in this market. You know, are we coming up into an area of resistance? We don't have an area. We continue to drive higher. Nothing that currently that's kind of standing in its way. Now, again, as I like doing on these kinds of things, when I don't have obvious levels, okay, obvious levels of, then what I like to do is kind of draw a little bit of kind of Fibonacci extensions and to see exactly where this market can go. Well, given the current trajectory, I'm forecasting that at least we can get up to maybe 25,600 in this market. Maybe as high as 25,730s, right? Given the current pattern that we're in right now. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of Fibonacci. That's the beauty of math. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Oh, wow. Here they keep rolling in. Guys, there's only so many hands, but it's a good problem to have. Thank you so much, guys. This is great. I appreciate all of you. I don't know what to say. All right, guys. You got me a little emotional. All right. Why? All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart here. And let's take a look at the initial balance range here, guys. And let's see what the prior markets were able to do with this market. Okay. So let's take a look at let's see. We got Asia to start with, and then we'll follow it up with London. All right. So Asia, what Asia was able to do? Well, Asia was able to drive the market lower. Okay. We got a nice extension here to the downside, right? What happened? And it happens often, guys. It happens again, guys. Just because you feel like the market has left you, be that lion, be that lazy lion to wait to see if price will come back to that initial balance range. And sure enough, again, this is kind of past my bedtime, right? But this initial balance low, did it not offer us a location to participate in this market at a very controlled environment? Right? We got a nice extension here to the downside. Price came back to initial balance low. And what did it do? It continued to move to the downside, right? It happens over and over and over again, right? These areas, we don't have to chase price, right? We don't need to feel like we're missing out, right? The best thing that we could do for ourselves, and it's how we say, very supportive of our mindset. Okay, if we are patient and wait for a level, right? your mind has already kind of digested the fact that, hey, I may take a short opportunity here. And if it reaches that level, I'm willing to take that on, right? And a very easy stop loss, right? We have the range here. Taking on a trade here is a little bit more difficult, right? Where exactly do I place my stop? Okay, but in any case, Tokyo offered us a nice, bearish trade in the Nasdaq. Moving on to the let's see, the London markets. Okay, London also offered us not quite, did offer us a little bit of an extension to the downside. I will say that we are still maybe a little bit more rangy in London than maybe we were in the Asia session. So Asia far more committed to the downside than say London. London seems like I'm not sure we're aligned, or at least what I'm seeing here is that London, it may not be 100% aligned with what Asia is communicating here. Okay. Now the fact is, we still are below. We're still below value here, right? We're not below value. We're still below the VWAP. So kind of a little bit of a mixed bag here. We're hovering around settlement price, which is very common. Okay. And kind of hanging out at settlement price as they accumulate here. Now, if I'm going to entertain a bullish trade, well, I need to begin to see that price is able to break some structure here to the upside. Okay. What I would need to see is I need to see price hold above VWAP. Okay. Right now, it feels like it's a market is a bit on the heavy side, right? Every attempt that we made here to get above VWAP has been rejected so far. So what is a trader to do? Well, a trader would probably look to see if we get some indication, like maybe a close below London's range to the downside might be an indication that maybe there's some maybe further downside in this opportunity here. Okay. So in any case, I would say that headed into the session, I'm going to be, kind of waiting to see what the initial balance range has to offer me. But I would say that as long as price remains below my VWAP, I remain open to the possibility that we could see maybe a further extension, okay, to the downside in this market. Now, I am willing to, change my view, right? If I start to see price break above some of these areas and maybe offer me some indication that there is some more upside opportunity. But right now, as long as price remains below VWAP, I'm going to stay on the side of the bears and maybe look for continued evidence that they want to take this lower. All right, let's take a look at the ES, and then we'll close out with the Dow. We'll start off with the daily chart like we normally do. So a little bit of indecision here up at the highs. We're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here, right? A little bit of indecision. So you can see here that that we have a candle that's developing with wicks on both ends of the candle. Not really a candle that would necessarily indicate that we are going to continue higher, but the market is higher, right? And I cannot deny that. As much as it would seem like a logical place to short, we want to temper that feeling and wait for some evidence of that. I'm seeing a Z. Depends if the shorts keep pushing down or not. Dow a bit more bullish. Okay. Well, yeah. So we'll get to the Dow here in a minute. But nonetheless, right now we are seeing that price continues to remain above our 9 EMA. I use that 9 EMA as a guide, right, to arrive at market sentiment, and my market sentiment still remains to the bullish side. Okay, on the daily chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are developing a little in the way of a bullish candle. Well, if we're developing a bullish candle in a range, right, then there's maybe a possibility that we could extend that range to the upside. Okay, so looking at this is I'm not exactly sure what this is initial balance wise. That's London. Okay. Okay, that's London on the 4-hour side. So London appears to be bullish. I would say if we move down to the 30-minute chart, I would expect that looks like so London is a little bit in range, but appears to be a little bit on the bullish side, guys, because I am seeing that price has managed to close above the initial balance range. Now the question is this a kind of dip their toe in the water and kind of reverse kind of thing? Or are we going to see maybe a concerted effort to drive price higher? I don't know. What I do know is that price did indeed close above. The question is, are we going to get some follow through on that view, or are they going to use this as an opportunity to potentially drive price lower? Okay, right? That I don't know. So we'll have to wait to see on how this 30-minute candle closes here in the next 12 minutes or so. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got. I'm going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile here and compare. So let's see. We're going to drive this across. Okay, there it is. All right, so we are on the upper end of the range here. Okay, so right about here. Okay, so you can see we're at the upper end of the range of value, and we did make an attempt to get above value, but so far that has been rejected, right? And looks like maybe we might even see a three bar pattern that would indicate maybe that we do head lower. Okay, I say maybe. Okay, we have to wait to see exactly how this candle closes here. Okay. All right, but we are in an area maybe where we get maybe some sort of decision. If we break structure to the upside, I can use this London IB high as an area for support to drive price higher. If price closes back inside value, maybe below my VWAP, maybe we start to move lower. So we'll let price kind of tell us which direction they want to take this. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow. And we'll again look at the daily chart here. Now, daily chart is I wouldn't say is looking much more promising on the bullish front, to be honest. This daily chart, it does not scream buy me. Okay, this screams to me as caution, because they're really not telling us all in the way of direction here. Okay, daily chart very much in range. A lot of wicks on both ends of the candle. A lot of indecision going on in the Dow at the moment. Okay. Not very clear as to what direction they want to take this market. Okay, on the Dow. All right, let's move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart here again. You can see that we are very much in range in this market. Excuse me, very much in range in this market. I'm going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here. Okay, we are still in the same range from Tuesday, and I expect that's the case for us today, right? So once we get to that, we'll see. But you can see that we are in some sort of balance area in this market. This is not directional, right? If anything, again, this is these kind of areas are areas where combines go to die, right? This is not an area that I want to be super aggressive in. We are in an area of high volume on the volume profile here on the right, indicating that there's no aggression going on right now in any direction. Okay, we're getting even balanced transactions on both sides of the market. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart and see what the 30-minute chart has to offer. I'm going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile here and see what the candle is going across here. All right, and there you have it. Okay, so again, we're at the lower end of value. Okay, lower end of value. What levels for value area high and value for the Dow? Well, value area high is 40. Let's just call it 47,000. Value area low, let's call it 46,855. Okay. Kind of has a head and shoulder pattern. I could see a head and shoulder pattern right at this level, right? This being this area being a shoulder, this being the head, this being the right shoulder. Okay. So in any case, guys, I would honestly have to say, let's take a look at the initial balance before I make any sort of conclusion here. I just want to see what the various markets were able to do with this. So let's take a look at Asia. Asia will give me a sense. I think Asia was lower. Okay. But not aggressively lower, right? We got to move to the downside. And unlike the other equities, we didn't really get the follow through once we came back to the edge of the initial balance range. We haven't been able to close inside. And then maybe we're starting to see maybe a little bit of an acceleration, right, to the downside. But right now, I think the structure remains bearish. Okay. That's kind of my view. Let's take a look at the London. I think London didn't offer us much in the way of direction. All right, maybe more so of late. Okay, so we're beginning to break initial balance here to the downside. If we do manage to close this in the next 9 minutes below the initial balance range for London, it would not be out of the realm of possibilities that we can reach maybe down to this 46,800 level and maybe beyond. Okay, maybe beyond. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Okay, all right. So I think that's what I have for you guys. I think the Dow does look a little bit more bearish to me, especially if we can get price to close below the initial balance range. That could definitely offer us maybe an opportunity for downside trade. So let's take a look at across all the markets here. Just one final time here. So gold looks like it wants to rally. Looks like it's caught a little bit of a bid. So that could mean that the equities are looking to head lower, right? Since gold is often a market for safety, right? A market that people gravitate to for safety. So gold is looking bullish. Crude oil is looking also bullish, right? There it is. That's what was it M was saying? If we can hold above 61, that maybe there is a move here. So we're coming to an area of decision here in the crude oil to the upside. And then across all the equities, NQ looking also a little bit on the weak side. Possibility maybe for a downside move, especially if gold continues to rally. We could be in store for maybe a continuation move to the downside. And then ES also giving us some indication. We got a bearish engulfing candle that's developing. And then the Dow is already taking some strides here of closing or potentially closing below the initial balance range, right? Now, obviously, we have to be careful, right? As we see these kind of wicks kind of develop here, there's always the possibility that, buyers could potentially reverse this back higher. But I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for the participants to dictate that to me, right? And show me that they indeed have the resources to drive price higher. Otherwise, my view is that it's going to continue lower. Okay. All right. I think that's it for me, guys. We'll go ahead and close off the session. I need to actually kind of figure out exactly what's going on with my platform, since I do see some issues there. So we're going to go ahead and focus on that aspects. But otherwise, we'll maybe take a peek here at silver. I know there was a comment made about silver, so let's take a peek at silver. Silver, yeah, it looks like it's caught some sort of bid, right, to the upside here. Okay. And then maybe gold will follow suit, right? Maybe gold is leading the charge. Platinum probably also in the same relative direction, right? Okay. So again, nice opportunity here. Okay. In platinum coming back to the top of initial balance, only to give you an opportunity for a further upside move. Okay. So just a little couple of bonus markets again, as a thank you to both Michael and EM. So I'm going to go ahead and close this session. Head over to see if I can grab a coffee here before I head out for the day, and then basically kind of wish you guys a good trading session. So trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for the super chats. Michael and M go a long way to kind of make my day here today. Okay. Thanks again, and we'll talk again soon.